Hey there hunters, Lord here, back with a new video on the channel, which is our first ever Monster Hunter Wilds set guide. I hope you guys have an awesome time at the launch of Wilds. The first run through of a new Monster Hunter game is always the best, and if you guys have just half the fun that I did playing through this, you'll be in for the experience of your lives. Before we get started, I just want to say a huge thanks to Capcom for allowing me to have early access to Monster Hunter Wilds. And secondly, I'd like to thank you guys, my viewers, for supporting the channel and giving me a platform to have an awesome opportunity like this to prep content for all of you ahead of time. In today's video, I'm going to be covering some of the best early game weapons and armors to be on the lookout for in your first playthrough of Monster Hunter Wilds, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So before we get started, I do want to say that I will be keeping the background footage as spoiler-free as possible. However, as we move through this video, there will be some slight spoilers as I'm going to be covering armor sets from each level of low rank. So I'll be sure to leave video chapters so that way you guys know not to go too far so you don't spoil anything for yourselves on accident. And I'll be sure to give a clear warning when I'm moving on to the next hunter rank. This is your overall spoiler warning. You know the deal now, and what happens next is completely up to you. So we're going to be starting off with the 1-star low rank. So as far as our armor, if you're using a weapon that has either an offset attack or a power clash or both, like Greatsword, I'd highly recommend running 4 pieces of the Shagama armor. We had this armor available to us in the beta. It was definitely the best that you could have in that, but if you can get either an offset or power clash with your weapon, you get a whopping plus 25 to your true raw. With most weapons at this stage of the game having between 100 and 110 true raw, this attack boost just cannot be ignored. It's a staggering amount. The armor set also comes with a whopping 3 levels of free meal, meaning that anytime you take a consumable like a potion, mega potion, antidote, what have you, you'll have a 45% chance for it not to be used up, which can essentially give you an extra 4 to 5 potions if you have 10, and other consumables per hunt. This is great for early game as you're getting used to the new mechanics and you might get hit a bit more than maybe you anticipated. Materials are also a lot more scarce at this point, since you have no way to farm anything passively. You can only grab stuff while you're out in the field, and things like mega potions are very much needed. It also has a 3-piece set bonus of Fortify, where if you happen to faint during a quest, each time you do so, you'll return with more attack and more defense, making that next cart just a little further away than it would have been otherwise. For the 5th armor piece, if you're just going to be running 4 pieces, if you're going to be playing multiplayer or with friends, I would highly recommend something like the Chemitrese legs for a single level of flinch free, or if you're running solo, or if you have another way to mitigate friendly fire, the Ingot waist is very solid as well with a single level to Divine Blessing, which gives you, going based off of Monster Hunter World values, a roughly 25% chance that when you get hit, you will take 15% less damage. It's just a super nice quality of life skill to have. Even in the end game where I'm at, well past Hunter rank 100 where I'm at, I'm still using between 1 and 3 levels of Divine Blessing in most of my sets. If you're not using a weapon that has offsets or power clashes, think things like light bowgun, bow, or dual blades, the Lalabrina 3-piece set using the arms, waist, and legs is very strong as well. You get 3 levels of recovery up, which makes your potions and mega potions heal you for even more HP, as well as the 3-piece set bonus that gives you more honey when you gather it in the field. Now, honey is one of the best early game ingredients for crafting things like mega potions, so this is a great way to ensure that you never run low. Now, as far as weapons go, there's not much here that's really outstanding or significantly better than anything else, but I was a big fan of the Lalabrina weapons in my first playthrough, as they upgrade very well throughout low rank. They have solid raw, solid affinity, pretty good skills, and very nice sharpness. Plus, you can get some free paralysis procs during each hunt, which are great for dealing free damage, sharpening, or healing while that monster is paralyzed. Another very solid option are the starting Hope weapons. They also upgrade very well. They have solid attack, sharpness, and skills, and in general, you're just going to be able to find the materials to upgrade these a lot easier. So with those out of the way, that is it for the 1-star of low rank. We will now be moving on to 2-star of low rank, so if you're not there yet, again, this is your warning. So moving swiftly on to the 2-star low rank, we will again start out with our armor, where you have a few options. You can either continue to use and upgrade the armor from your 1-star low rank, which is definitely not a bad option if you're still running the Deshagama armor. However, I would highly recommend putting in a piece or 2 or 3 or even all 5 pieces of the Ray Dao armor once you beat him. Latent power is extremely solid at this stage in the game, as it activates after a certain time in the quest or after taking so much damage by getting hit by a monster. In Monster Hunter World, you had to either be in the quest for 5 minutes or take 180 damage to activate latent power, and it seems to be about the same here in Monster Hunter Wilds. At level 1 of latent power, you get a staggering 10% affinity and 30% stamina use reduction, so every time you roll or sprint, you use 30% less stamina. At level 2, you get plus 20% affinity and still minus 30% stamina usage. And at level 3, you can get a whopping 30% affinity and a staggering minus 50% to your stamina usage. If you're running anything that uses stamina, especially things like bow or dual blades, this is an absolutely fantastic armor set to use, as the 2-piece and 4-piece set bonuses increase how long the effects of latent power last by quite a bit, and using all 5 pieces gets you 3 levels of Constitution, as well as 3 levels of latent power. Where latent power lasts for a certain amount of time, Constitution gives any sort of fixed stamina usage, like rolling, where you use a fixed chunk, a 30% reduction in how much stamina you use for something like your rolls or your slide or your adept dodge with dual blades or bow. As far as weapons go, I would say continue upgrading your weapons from low rank level 1, and definitely try out some of the Ray Dao weapons if you get the chance. They're quite good for things like Piercing Light Bowgun as well as Thunder Element at this stage of the game. So with that, we're done with 2-star armors and weapons. We'll be moving into 3-star low rank armors and weapons. This is your warning. So for the start of 3-star low rank, this is where you'll be getting into the Guardian monsters. These guys offer you 2 really solid sets that can even carry you well into high rank. I used some of these pieces until I was significantly into high rank. So firstly, we have the Guardian Rathalos set, which gives you 3 levels to Weakness Exploit and 3 levels to Intimidator. Now, Intimidator just keeps small monsters from attacking you, which really isn't super useful, but it's nice to have as a bonus skill. But Weakness Exploit at level 3 gives you plus 15% affinity on weak spots, with a further 10% affinity if you're attacking a wound, so around 25% in total. And if you couple this with a couple levels of latent power, you could be looking at close to 50% affinity. Affinity is effectively your chance of landing a critical hit, and critical hits give you plus 25% damage when you land one. You could couple this with a higher crit weapon like the Lalabarina weapons, and you'll be getting a lot of extra damage so long as you're attacking weak spots and wounds. Now, the 2 and 4 piece set bonus gives you some extra fire damage, so that's not super helpful, especially if you're using a raw weapon like the Lalabarina weapons anyway, but it's pretty nice to have. It doesn't do much and it doesn't hurt either. Now, the other option here is the Guardian Ebony Adogaron set, which gives you 3 levels of Burst. At level 3, Burst gives you plus 12 raw attack on your melee weapons and plus 8 raw attack on ranged weapons. Then, in my testing on the training dummy, between 80 and 100 extra elemental attack. Now, this varies by weapon, but this is quite a bit after you land 5 hits on a monster, and as long as you keep hitting the monster, Burst will not go away. Now, the 2-piece Ebony Adogaron set bonus gives you an additional 3 true raw attack, landing you 15 for melee weapons and 8 for ranged. And the 4-piece is an additional 10 raw attack, which at our weapons having around 100 or a little more, is nearly a 10% attack boost alone, much less added onto the 12 and 8 raw from the actual burst skill. Both the 2 and 4 piece set bonus also extend how long burst will last when you're not hitting the monster before it runs out, making this a very solid option for both raw and elemental builds alike. Either of these sets will be fantastic for this stage of the game, and like I said, you can continue to upgrade and use these as you progress into high rank. Now, one additional note that I want to say at all levels is to be sure that if you have any decoration slots, you make sure they're filled up with any decorations you might acquire throughout low rank. None of the skills that you'll get at this stage of the game are super overpowered, so you can just run whatever you feel like will help you the most at whatever point in the game you're at. And with that, we're done with low rank armors. After this, you'll be moving into high rank, and I'll have some set videos coming out for each of the individual weapon types, very soon, so be sure to keep an eye on the channel for those. So let me know in the comments down below what weapon you are running or what 2 weapons you are running in Monster Hunter Wilds. I did most of my playthrough either with dual charge blades or charge blade and gun lance. I had a ton of fun with those. Gun lance is nuts and charge blade is even better. I'm a huge fan of the new Savage Axe rework. Rest in peace, super amped element discharge spam. But I still used quite a few of them out of my guard points and perfect guards, so I found a good balance and had a ton of fun. If you guys found today's video helpful, be sure to leave a like down below, as it's a totally free way to let YouTube know that this video should be shown to other hunters in need. If you're new to my channel, new to Monster Hunter, or if you like the content and are returning on the regular, do consider subscribing for more content like this. Like I said, I'm going to be covering a lot of high rank set building guides as well. And if that's something that interests you, the best way to make sure you don't miss an upload, whether it's sets, guides, tutorials, or things that you didn't even know you needed to know about Monster Hunter, is by being subscribed. With all that being said, I want to thank you guys once again for watching today's video. I wish you all a good day and happy hunting.